Ranking every fighter's performance at UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov. We're going to go from an S tier, you had the best performance of all time, all the way to you looked absolutely horrible out there at the bottom with the F tier. We're not going to go in any specific order from main event to the first prelim of the night. We're just going to go through some random fights and eventually fill this whole thing up with S tier, A tier, B tier, and so on and so forth. We're going to start with Tony Ferguson. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony did not look good. And is that a surprise? No, it's not a surprise. S tier. I can't. I'm sorry. All the Tony fans watching this video, I feel really, really bad for doing this, but he's a clear F tier. He did not look good anywhere that fight. Got absolutely dominated. Nobody on this card really got as dominated as Tony Ferguson. So I am sorry for all the Tony Ferguson fans out there, but he has got to go down to the F tier. It was just not a good performance whatsoever. Azamat Murzakanov, one of the best performances of the night, and we're going to go A tier for him. He looked amazing. Round number one was a little bit close, but I do believe he did win that round. He got hurt a little bit in round two. Then he caught Alonzo Menifield as he was coming in. Another great win for the undefeated light heavyweight who says he's going to fight Alex Pereira in 2025, and he's going to beat him. So I love Azamat's style. His striking is so fun to watch, and a knockout win when there was a lot of decisions on this card. That is a clear A tier for Azamat Murzakanov. Victoria Dudakova, she was undefeated coming in. She lost that O to Sam Hughes, and she just did not look good. Her cardio was going down, mainly because Sam Hughes is just so good in terms of the cardio, but you got to work on your cardio, Victoria Dudakova. You're not S, you're not A, you're not B, you're not even C. You're going down to D tier. Mainly not because of your performance, but your opponent's performance was just so good. In Sam Hughes, her pressure, her volume, and just constantly coming forward, you just had no answers for it, really. You were countering a few times, but you kept on getting pressured, and you ended up losing the fight. D tier for Dudakova. Mohamed Yahya, he got destroyed. We're going F tier for him as well. He's the other guy, kind of like Tony, that kind of got dominated in his fight with Cowboy Fernandez. Did not look good in that fight whatsoever, and just got destroyed. I mean, there was not really a moment where he was looking good in that fight. Again, might be because of his opponent, Cowboy Fernandez, but he really was not looking good. Denis Chilinin, I would have to go D tier, mainly because he was doing a little bit better than like Ferguson and Muhammad Yahya, but he still was not doing good at all. And against Cedricus Dumas, who is, he's turning into more of a wrestler, but you really had no answers for him once it hits the ground. You couldn't really get back up. You were kind of just letting him hold you without landing any punches, because, Dumas is just holding. You could land punches or try to break the grip. He wasn't really trying to do any of that. He was kind of just staying in those positions and not really trying to get out. So he's got to be pretty low on this list, 100%. Marlon Chito Vera made it pretty close, was able to win, I believe, round two. Or no, I don't know. He won one of the rounds, let's just say that. Lost 2-1 on the judges' scorecards. Got knocked down in the fight. Probably still had a better performance than Dudakova or Denis Chilinin. So we're going to go C tier for Marlon Chito Vera. He didn't look horrible. He didn't look really good either. He's kind of right around that mid-range. You barely passed there with the C tier. Jordan Vucenic is going to be our next guy. This dude looked great. We're definitely, out of all the losers, his stock probably went up the most. And he's going B tier. He looked very good. Round number one, dropping Guram Kutateladze with a nice shot. Ground and pounding him, but after round number two was over, his coaches made the mistake. It wasn't him. They were saying they believe he's up 2 rounds. You gotta coast it a little bit here in round number 3. And he did that, and then he ended up losing the fight because Guram's wrestling and grappling and experience overall was just a little bit better than Jordan Vucenic. He was very close to beating a guy who beat a top 5 UFC lightweight, so that's obviously impressive to do. especially on short notice. Jordan Vucenic, very, very impressive. Even though he lost, he's probably the most impressive loser of this UFC fight night. Mackenzie Dern, we're going to go her right at, even though she won, again, she's taking a lot of damage, she's eating a lot of punches, and she wasn't able to get that submission. If she was able to get that submission in round number 1, I might actually put her A tier or C tier. But she wasn't able to get it, and she started eating punches. She started getting really damaged in the face as well, and ended up losing that fight. I mean, it was a back and forth one there, I would say, between Marlon Vera and Mackenzie Dern. I'd say Mackenzie Dern is just a little bit better, so we'll move them. Dennis Chelinin and Dudakova. Dudakova probably did a little bit better because it was a split decision. And then Ferguson and Yaya. I keep Ferguson ahead. I mean, Yaya's performance just was not that good. Then we're going to go to Elvis Brenner. He got TKO'd in round number 3. He didn't win a single portion of the rounds. He didn't get any takedowns in the fight, which I thought he would have. We're going to put him right in between. We're going to put him right ahead of Victoria Dudakova. A little bit of a better performance than Dudakova because he was still showing a little bit more heart than Dudakova there and pushing the pace a little bit, coming forward, trying to make something happen Victoria was kind of wilting to that pressure. But Elvis did get knocked out, so he's got to be pretty low on this list as well. Into the D tier. Cowboy Fernandez, who beat the F tier Muhammad Yahya, his performance was amazing. Not F, not D, not C. Let's go A tier. Let's go A tier, ladies and gentlemen. And technically, he had a better performance than Azamat Murzakanov. So we're going to put him as the number 1 performance so far for this UFC fight card. And, look at it. Kawe and Azamat, they did get the performance of the night, so it makes sense we're having them this high in the A tier right there. Then we got Corey Sandhagen. Ladies and gentlemen, my guy's performance just was not it. He was not letting his hands go, not really letting any of his punches go after round number 1. His grappling, his wrestling looked really, really good. Was able to stuff a lot of the takedowns and get back up, not let Umar land any ground and pound or get close to any submission. So that part of the game for Corey was really, really good. But his striking, man, he just was not letting his hands go. And I'll be honest, that's probably going to be a C tier for me. He was able to win a round on Umar Nurmagomedov. He's right in between that D tier and C tier range where it just was not that good a performance. Marlon Vera was able to win a round. He made the other rounds pretty close. Corey I didn't like his performance at all. We're going to put him in the D tier, to be honest with you. A little bit of a better performance because Brenner got dominated. Victoria was getting wilted, and Dennis just really wasn't trying on the ground to get back up or break the position. Corey just wasn't letting his hands go, so we got to put him at the D tier after that performance against Umar Nurmagomedov. Then we do have Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. He's going to be low as well. I'm going to have to not go F tier because he was able to almost win a round, arguably win a round on the judges' scorecards. He did a little bit better than Dennis because he was pressuring the action and coming forward and making things happen. So he's a little bit better than Dennis, a little bit better than Dudakova, not better than Corey Sandhagen. I'd say better than Corey Sandhagen. Let's go. He's my best D tier of the card so far. Sam Hughes, amazing win. Beat Victoria Dudakova, just kind of wilted her. Showed she has that dog in her. Put on the pressure, put on the volume. Kept coming forward. Whatever obstacles were thrown her way, she just kept on coming forward. She had a better performance, in my opinion, than Mackenzie Dern. Jordan Vucenic and her are kind of right next to each other. I'm going to have Sam Hughes as the best B tier of this UFC fight night. She looked great. Even though it was a split decision win, it was against an undefeated girl. Not a lot of people were picking her to win, and she went out there and she showed out and got that. She got that decision win. Hard thing to do, to go out there and finish an undefeated fighter, but she was able to win it with just straight pressure and volume, which was very, very impressive. Michael Chiesa, again, he dominated. Easy win, takedown, got the back, and sorry to do it to Tony Ferguson, but that much of an utter domination from Michael Chiesa, gotta go S tier. There was no resistance at all. He got the takedown, got the back, and immediately sunk in the submission. It was just the most clean, fast, easy finish for Michael Chiesa right there. So he's gotta be S tier just because of how easy he made the fight seem. He went out there and absolutely dominated. Jai Herbert had a little bit of a little bit of moments where Rolando was landing on his face and kind of busting it up, but he wasn't landing like big, powerful punches, but it was still showing marks on Jai Herbert's face. He never got hurt. Jai Herbert never really got hurt in the fight, but he did hurt Rolando Bedoya, showed some great striking. He is definitely going to be better than Marlon Vera. Definitely had a better performance than Mackenzie Dern. Would it be better than the loser, Jordan Vucenic? It's debatable if it's high C tier or above Jordan Vucenic. I'm kind of trying to decide here. What would I choose? Jai Herbert's performance against Rolando Bedoya or Vucenic almost going out there and putting on the upset? I'm going to say Jordan's just a little bit better. So I'll have Jai Herbert in the B tier for pretty much winning every single round, getting a knockdown, hurting his opponents multiple times. So great performance there for Jai Herbert. His opponent, Rolando Bedoya, just wasn't landing with the same volume that he usually does. I'll be honest with you. So he still showed like kind of that Mikhail Oleksiejczuk heart where he was coming forward. And we're going to actually switch that. We're going to actually switch that here. Mikhail's going up to C tier because he did show more heart than a lot of the other fighters that lost on this card, where he was pressuring forward, trying to come forward and land big shots on Nurmagomedov and get the finish. So we're going to move Mikhail to C tier, in my opinion. He had a pretty solid performance, was almost able to win that round in round number 3, and he just kept coming forward. He kept coming forward. Rolando also kept coming forward. The reason he's in D tier, he, again, kind of like Corey Sandhagen, they have a similar issue. They were not letting their hands really go on their opponents, and they weren't able to land with a similar volume to that they are usually able to land. Alonzo Menefiel, we're going to have to go F tier here. Kind of got dominated. Not as much as like a Tony Ferguson or as a Muhammad Yahya, but I would say he's going to be right there as my third worst F tier. And that was just not a good performance at all from Alonzo Menefiel. He did hurt Azamat Murzakanov, but like I said in my prediction video, as soon as he smells blood in the water, he leaves that chin up. He comes in recklessly and he gets knocked out. That's exactly what happened yet again. He has that same problem of smelling the blood in the water and getting knocked out because he gets way too like, I need to finish this fight. And so we're definitely going to have Alonzo in the F tier. I mean, it was not a good performance. Joel Alvarez, amazing performance. No way we're having him F, D, or C. He is going to be in the A tier. He looked amazing in that fight against Elvis Brenner. Won every single round. Got the finish in round number 3. Didn't get taken down once by Elvis Brenner. Showed his power on the feet. Showed his knee. Showed his Muay Thai. Showed a lot of different wrinkles in his game. Got close to a Darce in round number 1. He showed a lot in this fight. It was a very impressive performance. But he got the finish a little bit later. Azamat and Coway's performances a little bit earlier, so they are going to be a little bit better in terms of A tiers. Joel, definitely going to be in that A tier, though. Shamil Gaziev, I'm going to be honest, he's going to be C tier. He's going to be C tier ahead of Mackenzie Dern, ahead of, ahead of Mackenzie Dern, mainly because he revealed after the fight was over that he was actually dealing with a broken hand in round number 1. 30 seconds into the fight, he says he broke or fractured his hand or whatever the reason was on a punch on Don'Tale Mayes' head. And he said for the rest of the fight, he wasn't able to land with the same consistently, put on the same pressure, ground and pound and things like that. So that kind of makes sense for his performance. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the funnest performance or anything like that. But it was dominant. It was 30-27. He didn't really lose much of any moments in that fight, whereas Mackenzie Dern made it pretty close. And then everyone else is kind of the loser of the card. So we're going to have Shamil at C tier just because of how boring the fight was. If it was a little bit more exciting, because it was dominant, 30-27, if it was a little bit more exciting, maybe he got the TKO, he'd probably be high B tier and maybe A tier, but it was just such a bad fight, in my opinion. Don'Tale Mayes' opponent, obviously not going to be C tier. He wasn't able to really get any moments off, not going to be here. Dennis Chalinin, he's right around Dennis Chalinin range, if we're being honest with you, but I'm going to have to put him in F tier. A little bit better, again, than Ferguson, than Muhammad Yahya, than Alonzo, because these guys all got finished. Dante didn't get finished. It just was a boring fight. Then he got 30-27 in, so he's going to be F tier, but he's going to be low F tier. Umar Nurmagomedov, you guys already know. You guys already know. This man is going S tier. Bro looked amazing in the striking. I did not expect him to look that freaking good when it came to the striking. I thought for sure if he's going to win the fight, it's going to have to be like an Aljamain Sterling, Corey Sandhagen situation where he gets the back early and kind of just holds it like Aljamain did to Petr Yan many times. I did not think that the whole way he would win would be not getting the takedowns, Corey being able to defend all of them, and then Umar outstriking Corey on the feet. That was such an impressive way to win against a guy like Corey Sandhagen. He beat him in Corey's own game. He didn't even need to put in the wrestling. He didn't even need to grapple. He didn't need to do any of that. He could win it on the feet, which I thought was so impressive. So we're definitely putting Umar Nurmagomedov as an A tier or S tier fighter. Shara Magomedov, again, great performance for sure. He 30-27'd it on most judges' scorecards. But he got a little bit hurt in round number 1. Ate a few punches from Mikhail because he was coming forward, and he got his back taken in round number 1. We're going to put him in B tier. It wasn't the craziest performance. He didn't get the finish. And again, he had Mikhail have some moments. I mean, Mikhail had some good moments in that fight, and got his back in round 2, I believe, right at the end, and got the takedown in round 3. So I can't really put Shara in A tier or S tier because he didn't get a finish, for one, and he didn't really dominate the fight like some other fighters on this card. So we're gonna have Shara Magomedov in the B tier. Next one we do have is Guram Kutateladze. Showed some good heart, some good comeback ability, and I'm going to have him right next to Jordan Vucenic. And I'm going to have Jordan Vucenic's performance as better than Guram Kutateladze. You guys might disagree with this one, but I do believe even though Jordan lost, he still had a better performance than Guram Kutateladze. I'm going to be just straight up with you guys. That's just kind of how I feel. Next one we do have, we got 3 more fighters. Cedricas Dumas in the first fight of the night, beating Denis Chilinin. He's definitely going to be D tier or S tier. It was a very boring fight. He was able to win, though. We're going to have to put him in C tier. Probably is the... Would that be our worst winner of the card? Probably. That's got to be our worst winner of the card right there. Cedricas Dumas. It was not a fun performance at all. I mean, he was just holding in a lot of positions. Wasn't able to land much ground and pound. Go for really any submission attempts. He was just holding in a lot of different situations here. But it was pretty dominant. There was not much coming back in the way from Denis Chilinin. Denis wasn't close to winning in really any portion of this fight. So clear, dominant, easy win for Dumas. It was just not fun at all. Cedricas Dumas is what we just did. I was about to say Cedricas Dumas is Figueiredo. That's Davison Figueiredo. Definitely better than Jai Herbert because he beat just such a good opponent. Jai Herbert beat freaking Rolando Bedoya. So no, we're not going to have Jai Herbert ahead of Davison. He had a better one than Guram, than Jordan. I'd say a better one than Sam Hughes just because of the knockdown. Better than Shara Magomedov for sure. Joel Alvarez. I think Joel had a little bit of a better performance. He did knock out a guy that's never been finished, whereas Davison knocked down a guy that's never been finished. So there's levels, Davison. Joel is on that other level. So yeah, we're going to have Davison in the A tier, but just barely right at the edge, scratching the surface of A tier, right behind Joel Alvarez, Azamat, Kaue, Umar, and Michael Chiesa. Last but not least, Lupita Godinez. Even in a loss, she was an underdog, and she made this one really close. It was an absolute banger of a fight. Really fun one there at 115 pounds. Obviously, we're not going to have her ahead of Mackenzie Dern like we did with Jordan Vucenic and Guram, but it was a war. It was a banger. Both put on a great fight for the fans, but neither really had a dominant performance. Dern wasn't able to get the submission, and Lupita was getting outstruck on the feet by a grappler, so we kind of have to have both of them in the C tier. But that's what I got, ladies and gentlemen. S tiers are Umar Nurmagomedov, Michael Chiesa. A tiers, got a lot of finishers here. Joel Alvarez, Azamat Murzakanov and Kaue Fernandez, as well as Davison Figueiredo, the first man to drop Marlon Chito Vera. Very impressive. B tier, Nurmagomedov, Sam Hughes, Jordan Vucenic, coming off the loss, is in the B tier. Very interesting. Guram Kutataladze and Jai Herbert. Then for the C tier, we got Shamil, we got Dern, we got Lupita, Marlon Vera, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, and Cedricas Dumas. D tier, Corey Sandhagen, ladies and gentlemen. His performance just was not there. He was not letting his hands go. So we're going to have to put him in D tier with Rolando Bedoya, Elvis Brenner, Victoria Dudakova, and Dennis Chilinin. And of course in the F tier, a lot of the guys that got finished or that got dominated this card. Tony Ferguson, pay respects. All right. Yeah, Tony Ferguson's in the F tier. Muhammad Yahya, Alonzo Menefield, and Don'Tale Mays. Not the best card. Let's just be honest here. A lot of decisions. Shaura Mikhail decision was very fun. Dern versus Lupita decision was very fun. There were some fun moments with Vera and Figueiredo. So a lot of the decisions on the main card were fun. But, you know, the decisions on the prelims, Gaziev, Mays, Dumas, Tulinin, I mean, these ones weren't really it. I mean, it was an okay card. The finishes were fun. The decisions, some of them were fun, some of them weren't. So probably a 6 out of 10 UFC Fight Night card, in my opinion. But thank you guys for watching this tier list video. I'm going to be doing one of these every Sunday after the fight card. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next video. But yeah, go check that pinned comment down below. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching.